Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. As you can see, we are in a different setting. We are currently in St. Louis. So isn't it fun to change it up?
It's so exciting because I was visualizing this for so many years. Just being able to have our own place here in St. Louis and create like we've been creating our podcast episodes and videos and our masterminds and all that. And here we are.
Yes,
So
we're here.
We're here and it's happening.
And outside that window, which you can't see behind us, there's a beautiful canal with this beautiful energy. So we've been spending a lot of time outside, and I feel like that was good to kind of break up the energy of being in one place. So we always like to travel in the summer. So we're here now and we'll be in Boston next. So we're excited for today's episode. And today's episode is all about here's what to do when you're doubting your mediumship skills. So whether you're brand new to mediumship and you've never given a reading, maybe you've gotten random messages from the spirit realm, you think that they're possible messages, or you've been doing it for a while. So we're just going to cover this today.
Exactly, because whether you are just starting out or if you've been doing this for 10 years plus, 20 years plus, it can get confusing at times even then.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're dealing with intangible energy. So we're not dealing with physical where we could see it. It's a cup here. So it's like we get in our own way.
Yeah.
When our life stresses, all of these different things play a factor. So that being said, even if you are an expert and you can still doubt your mediumship skills, we know what it's like at the very beginning too. That's when all kinds of doubts just start to spur all over.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the more you go throughout the years, you start to become aware when you have that feeling like, wait, why am I feeling this way? And it's come up for me where I thought, okay, I need to go back and reattune my mediumship, and I'm always practicing, but there's always a feeling. And I say to Tony, okay, I have that feeling. I need to go and develop this part of the skill, or I even go back in my own classes and take my own classes to develop certain things too.
Exactly, because you're either growing or you're not. So no matter how long you've been doing this, you're either getting better at it or you're getting worse at it.
Right.
And the thing is, I always compare it to like pattern recognition. That's what I tell people. Like when I was playing basketball, I could you start to recognize the energy of the game, where people are going to be. And I look at the spirit or connecting the past loved ones the same way, to where it's just all kinds of different energies. And the more that you start to do it, you start to increase your skills with pattern recognition.
Yeah.
And then it starts to get easier for you. And that's why I think what we want to emphasize on this episode is, if you are struggling and you do have doubt, that is normal. And the more that you hang in here and develop your skills and study and apply it, your pattern recognition skills will increase drastically, and I think that's when everything changes.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so much importance with traveling and going to different places and living your human life while you're developing your mediumship, because we were in, what was that town? In Kentucky. We were Paducah, Kentucky. We were just there, and there was so much history in that town. It was a little town that we've always driven past. We've seen it on the sign, and Tony's like, let's change it up from stopping in Nashville or Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we'll try Kentucky. And when we stopped there, it's almost like we shifted in our mindset, like we felt the energy of this town. And it was really weird, because in this town, it didn't feel like a modern day town. It was like a mix of modern and then a mix of old fashioned, like even how the people communicated. And we took in that moment of that energy of the town. And then we came across an old train, which if you're on my Instagram or on Tony's Instagram, you know that we were sharing this on stories. But I mentioned in the stories how powerful it is to have new references when you're traveling, because when you're doing mediumship, it's really common for locations to come up. I know it comes up for me.
Definitely.
Where I can go back to that space. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm in Kentucky because I've been there.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. Because you're picking up on not only the physical things like the train being there and the different parts of Paducah, Kentucky, but what we also pick up is like the culture and the energy and the way that they speak. Because when you're giving readings, you're going to be connecting to a lot of different people from a lot of different cultures. So I think that's a big thing too, is like there's a certain energy. I know when I was in Paducah, we were in there, it was like everything slowed down. I remember at one point we were eating in the downtown area at the restaurant, and I told you, I was like, it feels like I'm in a campground right now, like that quiet feeling.
No, it
even though
totally
we were
did.
in a downtown area.
It
was really
did.
interesting that way.
And I think that you should go out and explore, like even if it's 2 hours away from your house. We've said this before in so many episodes, but it's something to repeat. So hopefully one day it really sticks with you, like, you know what, I want to change, but go out 2 hours out of where you're at and see what you can experience. Because this is literally, 3.5 hours from St. Louis. We've driven through this area in Paducah, like passing the sign so many times. I don't know how many years we've been doing this trip.
10 years straight.
Yeah, from going from Florida to St. Louis when we're driving. So it's something to think about, but it was really eye-opening, just another way of just remembering the importance when it comes to mediumship.
Exactly, and that's a way to get out of your head. So that is a tip, is to go travel, is to go have fun, to explore different places, because when you do that, you're out of your head. Like, I'm in St. Louis right now. I have 20-something years of experiences here. So when I come back here, I feel all these energies being reactivated inside of me, because you have history there. So it reminds you of memories, and then sometimes it gets you to where you're not in the present moment because of that. So when you get out of your comfort zone, you get out of what you're used to, you're able to refresh, recharge your energy. And that's what this is about, because anytime you're confused with your mediumship skills, anytime I'm confused, whether it's like, wait, who is that? I notice that my energy's not clear. I notice that I'm either, it's a stress from my daily life or something like that. Because when your energy is clear, you don't doubt it. You just know.
It's true, and it's about the clarity, like totally what you're saying. And then I notice when it comes to mediumship events, like I actually have one coming up. So here's a little promotion. I wasn't even thinking about that. But this episode will probably go out before my event.
Yeah, it's going out today.
So Thursday, I have an event coming up. And when I do audience events, I really need to be in a place of power. Like I'm standing at the front of a group of people. It could be 100 people. It could be 50 people. It could be, less than that. Whatever the amount of people it is. But when you're doing an audience event, you have to be open energetically to hold the space for the audience in the spirit realm. Also for private readings too. But I think that if we're in our power in our personal life, it's not like we need to wind up, to get in the power to do the audience reading. It's not as hard.
Yeah, it's like what Will Smith always says. Will Smith always says, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So it's a never-ending process of, like, people always ask Lindsay and I, how many hours a week do you work? Well, it's hard to really say what work is, because a lot of our time is prepping our energy, is like making sure we're good for when we do our calls,
like
and when we taking morning walks, working out, going kayaking, just different activities, different hobbies. Like you paint sometimes. Just, it doesn't matter what it is. Reading. It's like you're playing like you would if you were a kid. Like if you were a kid right now, you're thinking, wait, what do I want to do for fun today? And I think that's what as adults we forget to do sometimes, because we have so many responsibilities. But I've heard so many times, like in our masterminds, maybe not said directly, but people are like, wait, so if I go have fun, that's going to increase my business?
Yeah, no,
and it's like,
true.
yeah, it's all correlated together. Like it literally is correlated together. The more of a lifestyle that you enjoy, that you create in your life, the more success you'll have in your business. And that's coming from the space of success, is like how you feel, the abundance, all of this. Because you could create a successful business or be really good as a medium, and you could just focus all day long studying it, but eventually you burn out. Eventually,
right. And then you're not good for your clients.
You're not good for anybody. So it's like you're treating the whole person, and I think that's what a lot of people forget about mediumship, is we are human also. Mm-hmm. So we have to figure out all of those needs. And
that's so true. That's so true. The next one is to take time to write down all of your experiences with connection. So if you're brand new to mediumship, you don't even know if you can give a mediumship reading. Maybe you've had moments like Tony and I where you are driving down the road on a road trip and you feel like your past loved one is in the car with you. You just sense them. Or maybe you see a sign that sticks out to you and you feel like it relates to someone that's passed. Any little detail of connection that you think that you've had, keep a notebook specifically for mediumship. I always tell this to my students, whether they're new or they've been doing it for 30 years. Write down everything and put the date next to it. And if you've done readings, also write those readings down and celebrate the readings that you've done that you know were a success, and the ones that weren't great in your mind, because we can put a lot of pressure on ourselves, still write down the lessons in that and the reflections and pick pieces out that you enjoyed with the reading. It's like watching film, right? For football or basketball or whatever it is, and you watch how people play and do different things. So I know Tony's the one that really edits our podcast, so he can see every detail more so than me. I don't really watch our episodes in that much detail if I do watch them, you know.
Yeah, I look at it the same way, because when I'm editing the podcast, I visualize it as if I'm a basketball player watching my film, because that's what it is. So it's like the same thing with your past readings that you've given. It's the same thing, because you can imagine it and you can remember what it was like and what it felt like. And I know a lot of times we're sharing our stories with our clients that we work with naturally, and with people in general, because it just naturally comes up to where I find myself sharing, oh yeah, that reminds me of when I connected to this past loved one, and this happened and this happened. So that's another form of like reaffirming your confidence in what you're doing, because even when you speak of the time that you had that moment, it starts to generate that energy right there, and you start to remember, oh, that's a different vibration feeling than this earthly realm that we're feeling. And that's part of the pattern recognition I'm talking about at the beginning, is you start to notice the different frequencies and how they feel.
Yeah, because it feels completely different.
Completely different.
Like sitting and remembering the feeling. Like I might not remember every detail of my readings, like that. Unless someone tells me the reading, I might not remember every detail. But then sometimes when I'm giving a reading, I will remember certain things. But the feeling of audience events or a feeling of a reading, that sticks.
It sticks. Think about it. It's like if you're at a sporting event and all of the energy's there. Like maybe you went to a sporting event in the playoffs. When the team was in the playoffs, like the energy's there. You don't forget that feeling, because like I can remember when we were at the Boston Red Sox game and they hit that walk-off home run. Boston Red Sox
I don't remember that happen. I just
they were shitty that year, and they hit a walk-off home run in a game that didn't even count. But Boston fans, they really are good baseball fans, and they were all there, and the energy was high, and I still remember that.
I remember that feeling.
Yeah,
but I don't know what happened. I knew something good happened, but I didn't remember.
I remember you were telling me, let's visualize the house we're getting.
Yeah.
Because we were at that. This was like several years ago. We were getting our place.
Yeah, I was like, let's, because we're in that high energy. Take the moment.
Right. So just think about that. There's different waves, there's different frequencies, and that's part of knowing when you're connecting with past loved ones. That's the biggest part that I'm a deep feeler. So that's the biggest way that I know if it's happening or not.
Right. And some people, which we'll get into that at some point. There's some exciting things coming up on my social media page, so I will talk more about this. I won't go into too much detail right now. But sometimes you won't feel spirit, but you'll see images and signs. It doesn't mean that they're not there, because you're the feeler, so it's really natural for you to feel. For me, it wasn't natural all the time. Like I was numbing myself. So in my personal life, I felt like I wasn't really tuning into my feelings. So for me, mediumship was very visual, and I'm like, wait, are they really here? Like I'm seeing these signs, but I'm not feeling anything.
Yeah, because it's like your strongest sense, right? It usually goes, you experience both now, because you're developing it, you're aware of it. It's the strongest sense that you, like the person, like whatever your strongest sense is, like if you have a strong sense of smell or feeling, like me, I'm a feeler, that usually manifests in the mediumship world too.
And everyone can develop that.
And then you could develop all the other senses by just becoming aware of it. So it's pretty interesting.
So
I heard some the other day say that their strongest sense is smell, so like they'll smell different things that come in immediately.
Exactly, like when spirit is coming.
It's when spirit's around, right? Like they'll smell cigarettes, or they'll smell a certain smell that reminds them the cologne or the laundry detergent, or the smell of their house. Like I'll do that a lot actually. I'll smell my Aunt Diane's house or my grandma's house. I'm like, oh, that's weird, interesting.
Yeah, that happens to me too. And everyone, you even make fun of our the women in my family that we know.
Oh, you all have strong sense of smell. It's crazy. They smell everything. You see them like this. Like they're constantly sniffing.
Kids, our nieces,
it's crazy.
They smell everything. It's just, I don't know what it is, but yeah. So what is the next thing?
Another thing that you can do when you're doubting your mediumship skills is to join a mastermind.
Yeah.
And this could be with a friend that is open-minded to this, and you meet up with them and have conversation, or you could join professional masterminds like me and Lindsay we run. And they're powerful experiences.
Yeah.
Like literally our masterminds that we run are some of the most powerful transformations that I've went through myself. And then also I have friends that I could speak with and share these kind of things. I think that when you're around like-minded people, it works as a mirror. You don't feel so alone anymore, and then it confirms different things that you've already been going through because that person went through. So I think that's one of the most powerful ways I built my confidence with mediumship is constantly being surrounded by mediums.
Yes.
Which one, I have no choice.
I know you're stuck. But no, okay, so let's tell the definition of the mastermind too, because there's so many different masterminds. But a mastermind is two or more people together, focused on the same intention, and a third mind comes in. So even if you tried to work alone and practice your mediumship and listen to audios about mediumship, like that's great. But adding a human being to practice with, you're going to take things to a new level. So this could be in the form of literally a mastermind where it relates to bringing confidence to your mediumship. Or it could be like a spirit circle, like your like mediumship mentoring where you're practicing together with other groups.
And this works on Zoom or in person, I've noticed.
Right, both. It
Both.
doesn't matter where you are because energy can't be broken. It's not something that can shift the accuracy of anything. So you don't have to be in the same room.
And you'll realize that as you do the Zooms and over the phone.
Yeah,
and all
and some
that,
people listening to this are already doing the Zooms. And
so they already know.
Yeah. But the big thing is the mastermind, I will tell you, when I am connected with other mediums every single year, and you've seen it in me, when I come back from workshops, like immersion, like full immersion of doing intense workshops and practicing, something shifts in my energy. So it's like the confidence, the energy, the experience that I'm getting from those practice sessions or the conversations that we've had, it's so powerful.
Well, it's one of the reasons why you have your mediumship mastery circle.
Yes.
That's an ongoing monthly thing to support this kind of thing, mediumship development.
That's exactly why I
So you didn't create all that for no reason. You saw the need, and it works. It literally works.
It does, and I kept putting it off when students would say, oh my God, I want to do another mentorship, but I've already taken all of your mentorships. What do I do next with this? Like, I keep wanting to practice. And finally, me and Tony were on a bike ride, and he's like, why don't you have a membership for mediums? And it was just that timing.
Yeah, that was my idea.
It really was, because he kept trying to tell me over the years. I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to put in there. And then finally, it was just that feeling like, okay, it's time. So, and that's another mastermind that we were on. We were on a bike ride having conversations about mediumship and business. That's why this all came together too, because we were having those conversations. So it's really powerful.
It really is. Connecting deeply with like-minded people.
Yep.
In that safe space.
We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.